They busted Snoop Doggy Dogg for marijuana. They busted Robert Mitchum. They busted...
They let Steve-O go.
They busted so many of us.
Tommy Chong.
Tommy Chong for bongs, not even for pot. For something that will cool the smoke. They're scared of us using marijuana properly. And they throw so many of us in jail. I don't know if you've ever been in jail. It's really, really boring in jail. When it's good. When jail's going all right, it's boring. Just dead time. Like you have a short time on this planet to live, and you're just wasting it away in a box. And when it's dangerous, it's not very fun at all. Because the first time I ever saw cocaine in my life, first time I ever saw crack cocaine, was when they threw me in jail. That's right. That's how good the drug laws work. So they can't keep drugs out of prison. What makes you think they can keep them out of our hands when we're out of jail? There's no way to stop it. And who are the biggest drug pushers of them all? I'm not talking pharmaceuticals, I'm not talking alcohol and tobacco and Starbucks on every corner. The biggest drug pushers of all, of illegal drugs,
Liquor.
are the CIA, who may have one or two agents right up there. If you ever wondered what Ollie North was doing with $1 billion worth of cocaine flying it in and out of Nicaragua and South America, that's an everyday occurrence. Like some black people say, we don't own any planes, but it's getting shipped in by the plane load. If you ever wondered how George Bush got his job as head of the CIA, it was because he owned an oil rig in the 50s, and his job was to unload the cocaine for the CIA. And Castro got in the way, and so he had Castro Cuba invaded with the Bay of Pigs invasion. That was a George Bush deal. And when Kennedy wouldn't offer air support, George Bush's next job was to whack that president. It's all about hard drugs being distributed so that Wall Street can have their Fortune 500 companies propped up. The only place you can launder tens of thousands of dollars worth of drug money is on Wall Street. As long as you invested in a Fortune 500 company, they don't ask where the money comes from. And if you ever wondered what Coca-Cola does with all the cocaine that it takes out in order to flavor their drink, they tell you it's destroyed. Yeah, they destroyed millions and millions of dollars worth of cocaine. Right. It's that the people who are making the most money off the illegal drugs are the elite rich people in Colombia and Bolivia and North America and the United States of America. Is that the only people who are never searched when they go in and out of countries are military people and intelligence agents and DEA agents. These are the guys who are... Drug laws corrupt from the cop on the beat all the way up to the head of these organizations. It corrupts people, and you can make much, much more money looking the other way than you can at your real job. So all this money is corrupting law enforcement. So it's all got to end. The hard drugs should be distributed by pharmacists. Heroin and cocaine should be available by prescription. That'll take all the illegal money out of the equation. And marijuana, as long as you do not have a history of poisoning other people, you should be allowed to sell marijuana in a cafe or compassion club. The only people who shouldn't be allowed to sell marijuana are the people who have a history of poisoning other people. Everybody else, if you're 5 years old, you have a lemonade stand, you have a couple joints on the side, you should be allowed to sell marijuana because it's just a herb. No more dangerous than peppermint. Definitely no more dangerous than caffeine. And anybody can sell a cup of coffee in this country. No license required. Right now, Health Canada has a monopoly on marijuana. They allow GW Pharmaceuticals and Bayer Pharmaceuticals to market and distribute Sativex, which is a spray. And they say it doesn't get you high. Oh, I've tried it. It gets you high all right. one spray got me high for hours and hours. And they tried to say, well, you need to spray so that it's clean and it's safe and that you don't get high. Well, it's clean and safe if it's grown organically. And you get high either way. You just got to learn to titrate your dose. And it's easier to... There's nothing wrong with being high. They try to make like high as a bad side effect. Actually, it's a very desirable side effect. That's what a lot of people use antidepressants for. To deal with depression, their spirits are low. They bring themselves up this way or that way. Well, the safest antidepressant on the planet is marijuana. Sorry. So, and then they grow this stuff. They call it marijuana, but it's been irradiated. It's grown in a mine shaft in the third most dirty industrial site in all of Canada, in Prairie Plant Systems in Manitoba. And that's the Health Canada marijuana. High in microbes, high in heavy metals. It's been irradiated, so it's no good. And then they mark up the price 1,500%. And this cost us millions of dollars as taxpayers, this marijuana program. And it hasn't helped anybody, and they want a monopoly. And soon they'll be taking away people's right to grow for medical necessity and have exclusive privileges over the legal marijuana market. It's just a monopoly. They don't care about us. They don't care about clean marijuana. They don't care about the cancer and AIDS patients who need it to survive. They just want control over it.
They want money.
They want money. They want all the money. They don't just want some money. They want to prevent you and me from getting a good job with no boss. But think about it for a second. Because that's how they control us all. They keep money out of our pockets. They keep us working for $10 an hour for somebody else instead of growing our own healthy medicine and supplying it to compassion clubs and cafes. There should be a Starbucks on every corner like the Starbucks. It should be everywhere. We in North America spend about $200 billion on pills. Half of that could be replaced with marijuana, the other half could be replaced with the other herbs. That $200 billion could go to farmers and gardeners and people like you and me. Now, I want a good job with no boss. I want a good job. And a lot of other people do too. And they say, oh, you know, the Olympics are coming. We got to deal with the homeless problem. Got to deal with all these poor people lying around on the streets. At one time, about 200 years ago, 7 out of every 10 jobs were agricultural. You don't need to go to university to grow a plant. Anyone here could learn to grow good marijuana, good wholesome organic marijuana. We could all get great jobs, which is another reason I'm a pot activist. It's not just to save the world, it's not just to end the prison system that's growing exponentially out of control. It's about poverty, getting everybody a good job, spreading the money around so it doesn't go to a few banks and chemical companies. Also, I don't know if you've been reading the newspaper over the last year, or you've seen a movie called An Inconvenient Truth. We have this little problem called climate change, global warming. Don't know if you've heard of it. Well, what's happening is we're pumping all sorts of CO2 into the atmosphere, and it's causing greenhouse gas to rise, and the sun's heat gets trapped, and the temperature goes up every year. And the glaciers melt, and different species can't adapt, and they die off. And it's a huge, huge problem. The sea levels could rise by as much as 20 meters, and Vancouver could be underwater. Or we could grow hemp for our fuel. And you realize the best fuel plant on the planet is hemp. You need a large amount of dry, woody mass for a good fuel crop, and hemp is the best. And we could have hemp ethanol in all our gas tanks, and it takes the CO2 out of the atmosphere as it grows. In fact, more CO2 is taken out than is put back in when you burn it because of all the leaves and the roots that go into the ground. So it is a reverse of the greenhouse effect. And it won't just stop at hemp fuel. All the paper, you know, we still keep wiping our asses with is made out of trees. It could all be made out of hemp. All the clothes we wear that's made from cotton, which is the most amount of pesticides used in agriculture, could be made out of hemp with 0 pesticides used. And in fact, everything that isn't glass or metal, hemp plastics, hemp concrete, and the best source of food for essential fatty acids and protein. Yes, so that we all have strong immune systems. It all could be out of hemp. Everything could pretty much be made out of hemp. and it could be our #1 industry and our #1 resource.